Welcome to Real Estate Investor Talk, where we bring you the most influential voices shaping the future of property and investment in South Africa. And today's conversation is about bold innovation, financial inclusion, and how technology is unlocking access to wealth like never before. And we've joined by the powerhouse team behind FracProp. It's a groundbreaking PropTech platform that's transforming the way South Africans invest in property through fractional ownership. And it's about making real estate accessible one fraction at a time. And with us in studio today, we got Mo Kalayamotho. He's the visionary founder and disruptor behind FracProp and the Enara Chartwell Group. Mo, great to have you on the show. Do you want to maybe just introduce yourself briefly to the audience?
Yeah, thank you very much. We welcome the opportunity to continuously share what we are doing in the property space. And obviously our key focus and objectives of when we're looking at inclusion, when we're looking at creating access, and that's basically what we are about within our group is being intentional about our participation in inclusion around property ownership.
Excellent. Great. And next up, we've got Katlego Maboe. He's the renowned media personality and passionate advocate for financial empowerment, who serves as FracProp's brand ambassador. Welcome to you, Katlego.
Thanks, Neil. I think I take great humility in you calling me a renowned media personality, but I appreciate that.
We
Yes,
are.
my face might have been seen on a couple of TV screens, and in this role, I'm an ambassador, I guess, the face of FracProp, and just like Monameti just said, it's a great privilege to be part of a team that really is seeking to open up the field of property ownership, especially to those who previously did not have access to it, even just in terms of the information available out there in the sphere. And it's an exciting opportunity to really help those that are interested in it grow legacy or generational wealth through this vehicle of property, which is very, very exciting, especially I think in the South African economy that we're looking at.
Wonderful. Great having you as well. And of course, last not but least, we've got Palesa Masiteng. She's the CEO of FracProp and a driving force behind the platform's mission to bring property ownership into the mainstream. And so let's just dive into the future of wealth creation and how FracProp is making it possible for everyday South Africans to own a piece of the property pie. So do you want to just introduce yourself, Palesa?
Hi, Neil. Thank you so much for having me. The rose among thorns.
Absolutely.
It's a great privilege. It's a great privilege to be here and to be part of this exciting movement that is FracProp, and being at the helm of something that's changing mindset and how we view property as an investment platform and giving access to the everyday South African. It's really, truly an honor.
Wonderful. It's great having you here, and I look forward to the chat. So, Mo, let's start off with you. You said FracProp is about equity. It's not just participation. I mean, that is a powerful statement. What does that mean in the context of South Africa's property market?
You know, Anil, one of the things that drove us to sort of making an effort and believing that we can also make a difference was continuously when you assess the market, yes, there are interventions to try and create more inclusion, but the more interventions, the more people are still left out. Even in sort of the lowest intervention, either first-time home ownership, for you to qualify for a bank loan, it still leaves a huge majority outside. Obviously, looking at the ratios of income earning. And then the second part was, our conditioning, where we still are set up on what is it if to say I own a property, it's my first property. Because now if I have limitations in terms of ownership because of exclusion based on how much I earn, then it means that my aspirations to own property will always be delayed because I don't fit in the term. But what if we looked at ownership in a totally different way? Like redefining what my first home is. It doesn't mean I have to live in it. It means I can still have my first property, which I own, or in this instance, co-own, and it's still my first one. So this is where we also wanted to look at policy challenge conversation, policy, and help the narrative around ownership to change to allow, because that's the only way we can, talk inclusion, is by also telling you how we view entry into property. That way, then, in terms of aspirations, it's more inclusive because it means now anyone who is even on the lowest of brackets can own property. And it's okay to say, I own a piece of property. This is my first piece ownership in property. The second part was it cultivates knowledge. The fact that I can now say I own this property, even though I earn 2,000 rand a month or 1,000 rand a month or 3,000 a month. Now I am in the game. My aspirations have been validated. It means now I can now continuously learn more, build my path and progression into now my next steps in ownership. So that's where we believed we can play a bigger role. And the third part was, to do that, we need to build a community. We need like-minded people who can come with us in this journey, who understand what we are trying to do, alternative ways of getting more people to continuously own property. So that was sort of how we stepped in. But we also looked at, you can't say you own property, you want to create access. And at the same time, more people are losing homes, and there's still no solution to try and help that. This is why if you go to FracProp in terms of our platform, you will see that we're creating access on one point, but at the same time, we want to balance the scale. That's why we're launching a product around the home equity space. This is now people who have already owned home, paid 50, 60% equity in the home, they lose a job, something happens, now they can't save their home. And now they need, to be, a solution instead of now them losing their homes. And that's what we believe now with our community again, not by ourselves, but with the community that we are building. We are taking responsibility to try and say, listen, if we can give access to one to own a home and give an opportunity to one to save a home, we are maintaining the dreams and aspirations of ownership, on continuous journeys. But lastly, in building communities, we recognized one success. This is where you have Stokvel communities who have now come together. They save a lot of money. So they have already proven the ability to come together, one, the ability to save and things. Now, we are in the last part of the conversation is for us to say, let's build together. Instead of one group or two groups building a building that's 20 million, why not 100 million? Because now we can afford that. With the community savings scheme, they save, I always give an example and I say, the banks will tell you, we've got a community of Stokvel, they've got 5 billion in our bank. But they're not going to say, no, we actually have a community of Stokvel that has got 5 million in our bank. And look, we have financed 3 buildings that cost 10 billion for these guys. Because if I sit there in the middle of transactions, I hold your money. Why am I not empowering beyond your wildest dreams? Because now you've proven to me you can save money. You are bringing money. I hold your money. So there's not an equitable support in terms of value creation from this. And that's why we're now trying to, instead of wanting to buy one apartment, why not own the whole development? Because you have the capacity in terms of your savings, but also you already have proven the collective, coming together as a collective, these are the fruits of its success. So that's just sort of what and our reasoning, logic, but also what would drive us to say these are the areas where we believe we can plug the gaps as an alternative player in the property space.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for setting that. I
Yeah.
mean, great initiative. Katlego, I mean, as we said at the outset, most South Africans know you as a TV host, storyteller, but your role with FracProp goes much deeper. I mean, tell us what drew you to this platform and why was this personal for you?
I think it became very personal for me when I also became a father a couple of years ago, and you start kind of feeling the weight on your shoulders of building a legacy, and trying to create, as I said earlier, on generational wealth. And as Mo was speaking about the communities and the communities that we come from, I remember obviously owning a home is quite a big thing for anyone, but for us, that's where your wealth lies. And I had the thought, why not have pride not just in the home that you own, but a portfolio of homes or properties that you own? And so when I was thinking about how I would like to kind of pay it forward to my son and creating that legacy for him, I've always also prided myself in wanting to build a community and adding value to that community through the various platforms. I've been very privileged to interact with the likes of Munameti and Palesa and various other individuals who are very influential in their fields. And it feels like it is a kind of a calling on me to use the platform to bring that information out to people, and for those who are interested in it, through the education that we will be providing through various platforms that are connected to FracProp. That made me realize that this is an opportunity that I'm interested in, and that I would like to take out to the masses as an ambassador and as a very vocal advocate for what it can present, not just in the present, but in the future as well, especially to those who previously did not have access to this very valuable asset that we know as property. And so for me, it's both personal, it's professional, you could even call it spiritual to a certain extent, because I see in my daily job, for instance, where I strike deals on the TV show, right? I interact with many individuals who are looking at a way of changing their lives in a big and dramatic way. And I think that this is an ideal opportunity to do exactly that.
Wonderful. I think nicely put there, Katlego. So, Palesa, I mean, as CEO, you're not just running a platform, you're actually leading a movement. I mean, how are you positioning FracProp as more than a tech solution, but also a real engine for inclusion?
I think at the top, I will start off by saying that FracProp is not just a prop tech platform. I did mention that it's a movement to change mindset. And really focusing on the previously disadvantaged groups, because owning property has always been a far-fetched idea where they never really would have access to properties such as Cape Town or even in Sandton. So FracProp allows our target audience to dream bigger than what they've been allowed to do so. The inclusion is more than just owning property. It's about leaving legacy. It's about generational wealth. And if you can change that for people that have never really thought they could, I think I sit at a very I have a big responsibility here, and we all do. So with technology, we can do that. We can scale property ownership. We can give people access to what never seemed possible a couple of years ago. And our business model allows for that to happen. And you're making a difference. You're changing the future, and we are very proud of that and to be at the helm of doing that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Mo. I mean, we see that FracProp is not just one piece of a broader ecosystem. I mean, you've built under the Enara Chartwell Group. I mean, can you walk us through how platforms like FracFin, MyFinWell, and My Home Loan work together to support home ownership for many and not just a few?
Yeah. Thank you for a question. It actually leads to the story of how we chose the route to build a holistic ecosystems of complementary platforms and businesses, because we realized that to achieve what we wanted, let me give you, for instance, like my FracFin, which is where we housed our home equity solutions. To assess an individual if they can participate in a scheme where we save their homes, because now you have just been paying for a loan, you've lost a job for whatever reason it is, or you can't pay the loan and the bank wants to take your house for whatever reason. For us to come and assist you means we need to interview you and check if maybe did you lose a job, what happened, and figure out if we can't help you restructure your finances so that you in a year or two you can buy us out and be in a position to qualify to fund the last part of your mortgage. Because what we do is a leaseback scheme where we buy into your property in terms of equity. We co-own with you, but when you are ready, you can buy us out. So we are giving you time, because 90% of the people are always looking for extra time. Yes, we run out of time because we are complacent sometimes, but if we can afford you time, but not just time, but structured support to help you get back, the question is how, because also create an exit. You might not be in a position where in 2 years you can buy us out because we lost a job, you can't get a job, but I think you are aware there's like a class action suit where people feel like their houses are being taken and being sold for a song. That's what we want to prevent. If there's an opportunity for you to get a decent exit, not to be kicked out of your house. So we have put in a structure for dignified exit, where now we can, in 3 years, we can buy us out. And then we realized we needed somebody who now can come and fulfill that part. That's how Chatwell Group, they've been in the housing space for the last 15 years. What attracted us to look at this measure was that they were trying to solve problem around people who were declined by banks. Under My Home Loan, they focused on reassessing people who automatically got disqualified. And in there, they found a big customer base that they could service. Disbursed close to about 1.5 billion of loans in that space, created housing schemes for mining houses, because then they were very specific and tailored to that. So it was a natural measure because we both were collectively building the space. So we managed our group now to offer 4 divisions, which is Fractional, which is the early access part, FracFin for home equity. My Wellness now plays a bigger role as a standalone company, because this is where now you come under FracFin. Your first point of contact is through our financial wellness, where we do the assessment, recommendations, and then either you go through the route of My Home Loan and a future stage that will come from a report based on our financial wellness subsidiary. And then My Home Loan is continuously driving around that space of continuously looking again at people who don't qualify in your normal banking, standard bank loans, but actually they do have the means to support and pay a mortgage. So we found that, we're an alternative house in the housing space, providing different spaces that continuously give access and help you restructure. And we're very sort of specific in financial wellness. We only help you if you want to buy a home. It's a wellness in terms of rehabilitation into home ownership. So that's why now, as a collective group, we have the means and the tools to support and cross. So there's an ecosystem that feeds onto each other and complements each other in the different aspects of where one's journey is in the property space. So that's basically why another Chatwell as a group now makes even more sense, because they've built capability, we've now incorporated the track record, but it also showed the continuous intention in really doing something unique in people who don't fit into mainstream, criteria, but they're under that. So we are an alternative option to continuously finding a solution from the another Chatwell group. Thank you.
No, thank you for that, Mo. And Katlego, I mean, you built trust across diverse audiences in South Africa. How are you using that platform to make property investment feel both relatable and also achievable for everyday South Africans?
Yeah, Neil, I think I have been very privileged to have garnered trust among South Africans and people who follow me on various platforms, and it's with that I want to lead. And with that, at the beginning of my journey with FracProp, I kind of vocally, and very confidently said that this is going to be a journey for me as well, a journey of discovery, a journey of learning, most importantly. And so that's exactly what I want to take people on. Um, with their trust, walking the journey with me, discovering all the nuances of this property industry and how ownership can be made possible for everyone. And we speak about the fact that just for as little as 100 Rand, you could begin your journey in owning a fraction of a property. Now, explaining to everyone at the very basic level how this is even possible, because as you can imagine, when somebody hears something like that, the first thing is they go, "What? No, it can't be. It's a scam." And you go,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Actually, there's a very easy way of thinking about it, because even in the big world of big business where billions of dollars are being exchanged, very seldomly do you have one particular individual owning the entire cake. It takes people coming together in a community of understanding and planning. And you break the pie down into small little bits, and you take them through the journey in that way, and then through the various solutions as well. It's not just the ownership of property, but the rehabilitation. It's the assisting of individuals who find themselves at a very difficult spot where you've lost a job and you've got a family that you need to keep a roof over their heads. And so how do you do that? And it's a wonderful opportunity for us to get into that space and to help create and restore the dignity of individuals. And it is a very much a relationship that is founded in trust. And we hope to move forward and open up these doors for the many individuals who are going to be part of our community.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Katlego. And Palesa, I mean, you've got a rare background that blends brand, tech, media. I mean, how's that shaped the way that you're leading FracProp into the mainstream?
Wow, I think that's been the core of my leadership. I come from a background of storytelling. With technology, we needed to find a way of humanizing the process of property ownership. And with my background of brand building, my background of storytelling, I mean, picking up from what Katlego said, we need to maintain the trust. With the rehabilitation also, you're dealing with people that these are real life issues, right? And through technology can create a distance between the two. So I think my background brings a unique sense of technology can be human by through storytelling. So I think that's very big in terms of us building community and also being able to build that trust, because here we are saying that own property for as little as 100 Rand. And we all know that as much as technology brought great things. I mean, we can see what AI is doing in terms of advancing us as a people, but also there's certain parts of it people took advantage. So the human element, the storytelling is a continuous thing that we look at, and the education, because you're dealing with real people, you changing mindset, you teaching, continuously having to teach people. So I think that is what I bring to the party.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. So, Mo, I mean, I've heard you all speak about legacy, generational wealth. Why do you believe fractional ownership is such a powerful tool for long-term impact?
We've grown up. I think if there's one thing that has been constant growing up is everybody telling you that, listen, owning assets and appreciating assets like property is the way to go. At first, you hear it as part of a conversation. The second step, you really get to understand it. The third step, you see it in actual practice that people have built portfolios, and the success is anchored around also owning, appreciating assets that are, slow, they grow, but they are solid. So, you hear it so much many times that when you start to actually realize that it's been in front of you all the time. So for me, it was, if we participate, we share the message continuously with the community to empower other people also know what we know. Part of what FracProp does is that we get reports in terms of market information. You know, sometimes at times you might even have the money, but I sit in Joburg, Palesa, we'll be in Joburg, there's an opportunity in Cape Town where from a short-term rental in terms of tourism, Cape Town does better than a lot of our cities. But she won't know about the availability unless she's searching, she's actively doing that. But now she's got a 9 to 5, she's busy. So sometimes we want to start, but we're afraid because we don't know. It's funny how a lot of us have not done a lot of things because we didn't know, and also because we were afraid. So part of what we are trying to achieve, besides giving people property, is giving people information on property, as much information as we can share, as much opportunities as we can share. And that's part of building the legacy in terms of it's not just about ownership, it's about information, and information is about participation. So I'll be happy to see more people participate, more people view this as an opportunity to say, but I learned this, or I got this information or this report from these guys, and for that I made informed decision in terms of my journey in terms of property ownership. So that's for me is the legacy part, is contributing that someone else can use the tools or the information we put in here to also be in a position, talk to their kids and say, hey guys, do you know that property is a good wealth building asset? I'll be happy to know that we planted the seed for that to happen. Thank you.
No, great. Thanks for that, Mo. So Katlego, I mean, you mentioned the R100 investment into FracProp. I mean, so, fractional ownership is a new concept to many, and obviously to your particular market as well. I mean, what are the biggest misconceptions people have about fractional ownership, and how is FracProp changing that narrative?
I think in the first instance, it would be just the idea of fractional ownership. When people hear that, it is a term that might throw them off, and you go, what is that? But which is the information that we're trying to bring to the masses is the understanding of the concept of what is fractional ownership. You think about it in the simplest term, there's a property which value you can then divide up into smaller little bits that makes you, or makes it possible for you to own a fraction thereof. And you might think, I mean, obviously as a property expert and somebody who's been operating in the industry for a long time, this is kind of self-explanatory information. But for the masses out there, that's not necessarily the case. And one of the big misconception that goes with that as well is the value that you can then own within that small little piece. So when you go, it's for just as little as R100, it sounds too good to be true. But when you begin to understand how assets like big properties are put together by communities aligned on their goals, that then becomes a little bit more clearer to you. Another one of the misconceptions I think that people have is then understanding what is the value that you can then extract from fractionalized ownership. Does it mean you get usage of the property? Does it mean that there's a financial return? If so, when does this financial return realize to you? And it's through this journey of sharing this information that I think we are debunking a lot of those myths and really creating a space and a community where people can share these ideas and broaden their thinking with regards to what fractional property ownership can represent, not just to them, but to the broader community as well.
Wonderful. Thanks for that. So, Palesa, I mean, we know FracProp is targeting people who've traditionally been excluded from property and owning property. Can you maybe share, I mean, who are your key audiences and how are you making sure you reach them? I mean, where are they?
I think just to hone in on that, we looking to speak to the young property entrepreneur who has had aspirations to own property. Now they have access, because our pillar is inclusion and allow people access, right? Strategic partnerships in terms of the captive audience. The banks sit with a community of Stockfells, and that is our target audience, to say, here's a platform, here's an opportunity, we bridge the gap between the two. How do we communicate with them? Through those strategic partners, through digital tools, through platforms such as these, continuous education, expanding our awareness and information with ambassadors like Katlego, who continuously go build the trust with our community and maintain that human element that I spoke about earlier. So that's who we're looking at.
Wonderful. Thanks for that. And Mo, so from fintech to PropTech, I mean, you're clearly passionate about leapfrogging, traditional barriers. How do you see technology reshaping wealth creation in South Africa and across the continent? And I know we have touched on some of this already. Maybe you can just embellish a little bit on that.
Okay. Yeah. It's in technology. I still believe, you see, we are now here talking how we are building a technology platform, but at the same time, we are talking about Stockfells, which are more community driven, and the essence and how they became was never about technology, but whether more of a people's human driven component. So for us, we believe technology will succeed, but it's more adapting what we do best as our communities and leveraging technology just to enable that. Because Fractional, the technology is purely facilitating the community, but the biggest thing we're focusing here is the community. So we realize in our continent, inside of ourselves, the world, it's not how fast something works. It's not how cool and complicated the technology can do. No, it's the basic, simple facilitation tool. But the strength and what we focus on is more of what works, what we do best, which is now from this essence is community. So, but at the same time, if you look at in our financial wellness, we are looking at tools in AI. It facilitates quick, effective responses, because if you are helping people, you want to be fast. You don't want an application to take 3 days when it can be done in 2 hours, because the information, the assessment, the verification, everything is done very, very fast. So it's balancing the two of how we effectively use the tools. But for what I believe, especially with my background in technology, I've been spent a lot of years developing platforms, solutions, is understanding that technology should just be an enabler for us in the African continent, but we should never, it's like we're building cyborgs. So it has to have both an element of the human-driven adaptability of what works and technology just enabling the thing to be more efficient, rather than thinking your technology would change the world and make things, people are not looking for that. They're looking for what works and what makes it easy. And the end goal for them will be not how cool our platform is, but to say, damn, we bought 3 houses using this technology. So for me, that's always the blind spot, or the excitement we should, that we never get too excited about what technology can do for us. But we should be excited about how we can adapt the things that work for us and use technology to enable them to be more efficient. And slowly, we can now fit in and have successes of where technology sort of has made products more efficient, and then the intent in terms of building that, automating that part becomes a success, not the other way around. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for clarifying that. And coming back to you then, Katlego, I mean, since joining FracProp, what's been the most powerful or surprising reaction you've received from people discovering this opportunity for the first time?
I just wanted to pick up a little bit on what Mo just said now about how, the use of technology enhances the things that have been kind of fundamental to the success of our communities, which is, I think it's a wonderful thing and something that we definitely want to promote. I think the most surprising reaction, it goes back to the kind of disbelief when and even when I have conversations with my friends. We've got this running group every Saturday, and these are young entrepreneurs, young men who have succeeded in their careers, and you tell them about, well, this is what I'm going into, and this is what we're promoting, this is what we're all about. It's always that, so it can really be that simple. And you go, yes, supported by the right kind of structure and the right kind of community, it can be that simple. And I think for me, it's so important at the end of the day that in my communication with my community and the broader FracProp community, keep things as simple as possible, so that the understanding um, and the trust is easy to continue and to build on. But yeah, I can't wait for people to really start exploring what the possibilities can be through FracProp, because I think once they do that and they realize the ease with which they can now step into this previously kind of, smoke and mirror industry that was so far away, can't reach it. It's not for us, it's for other
Mhm.
people. Once they
Mm.
realize how easy it is, I think it's really going to change the game in a big way.
Wonderful. Okay, nicely put there. And Palesa, finally, let's look what's next for FracProp. I mean, what can we expect in terms of growth, partnerships, or any future innovations?
Yeah. I think for us right now is about building the community and still sticking to our pillars of inclusion, access, and doing it together. FracProp is not just limited to South Africa. We also have our feet in Botswana, and we're looking at scaling globally with our global partners to give access to everyday South Africans. Imagine owning a property in San Francisco. So we're just not limiting this to just South Africa, San Francisco, Katlego.
He's got the bridge behind him.
Yeah, so it's just continuously building the community and expanding and changing mindsets about property ownership, So that's the next big step. Continuously build the community, teach the community, rehabilitate the community, and the world is theirs.
Wonderful. Okay, what I'm going to do now in closing, I'm just going to ask each one of you just to maybe give your 30-second parting shots that you can leave the audience, maybe to, just to leave them with something lasting about FracProp and the differences it can make, and maybe just your final message, parting shots. Starting with you, Mo.
Um, uh, yeah, that's a tough one. Listen, I think the one thing that drives us is being intentional in terms of if you take a path, especially for us where we are looking at home ownership, it's being intentional because it doesn't make it easy. It's more challenging, but and it's easy to pivot from your main course because you are told how hard it is and the obstacle and challenges that comes with sharing and getting the people that you are targeting to believe on the product. But we know once they believe, it's home run. So our journey is one person at a time. And for me, my mission, and obviously collectively as a team, I believe that's what we intend to do. If we can have a conversation with one person at a time to get to the first 100,000 people, that's the journey we are embarking on. And that's why that also challenges us, in terms of the decisions we've made to say, is this the path that we really want to take? And unfortunately, we're paying for our sins. This is the path we choose. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, that's Mo Kalayamotho. And he's the
Yes.
visionary founder and disruptor behind FracProp and the Yanara Chartwell Group. Katlego, your final thoughts.
think I want to pick up on what Mo said. It's the path that we've chosen to take, and very deliberately so. And so to the community, those newcomers to FracProp and those who will be part of the community, be excited. There really is a huge change afoot and a change that you can be a part of from the very beginning. If you are someone who is remotely even interested in the future of your family and your own legacy that you'd like to build on, this is a fantastic opportunity to really get that started. So be curious, learn as much as you can, and come and walk this journey with us.
Wonderful. And that's Katlego Maboe. He's the renowned media personality and passionate advocate for financial empowerment who serves as FracProp's brand ambassador. And last but not least, Palesa, your final thoughts, parting shots.
I think for me, the whole point is for us to do it together. And we've taken it upon ourselves to build a community of 100,000 people. So to anyone listening, I would say sign up on www.fracprop.co.za. Join the movement and let's do it together and not limit ourselves to what has been and look forward to the future of owning property together.
Wonderful. That's Palesa Masiteng. She's the CEO of FracProp. So thank you very much. It's been great chatting to all of you. Massive thank you to all of you and for joining us on Real Estate Investor Talk. We know that FracProp isn't just disrupting the property space, it's helping rewrite Africa's